Welcome to the term of the day. Today's term is real estate. So let's take a look at the definition of real estate. Real estate is unimproved land, buildings, and other fixed improvements to the land. Fixed improvements would be physical attributes affixed to the land that are tangible, immovable, and permanent. So examples of fixed improvement would be things like the house itself, any buildings, so if there's a detached garage, barn, shed that cannot be moved, shop, fence, landscaping, pool, etc. So something that the seller of the property cannot take with them. So therefore real estate would be land as well as fixed improvements to the land. Now, if there's a question on the exam and they talk about a swing set, above ground pool, or anything like that, keep in mind that these things can actually be moved. So they can take their swing set with them, or there's a play structure. Any of those things can actually be moved, so they don't have to stay with the property. Therefore, they are not part of real estate. So they would actually be part of personal property. So make sure you differentiate between stuff that cannot be moved versus the stuff that can be moved. Now, there are some related terms that I find people struggle with. So let's take a look at that. Land, for example. So land is the ground and that which is beneath it and above it. So anything above and below the land. So anything that's above or below the ground itself would be considered land. And then real estate would be unimproved land, buildings, and any other fixed improvements to the land. And then real property would be land, fixed improvements, and property rights. So these terms are interconnected and basically they build on each other. So we start with the land, then we add the fixed improvements, and that becomes real estate, and then we add ownership rights or property rights, and that makes it real property. So when you have a question on the exam, make sure you're not confusing these terms. So just keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at exam question that you may see on the exam. Which of the following statements best describes the term real estate? A, it is the land, the buildings, and any other fixed improvements. B, it is any property that is not considered to be a chattel property. C, it is the land and fixed improvements and ownership rights to the land. Or D, it is any property that has been included in a real estate transaction. And the correct answer here is A. So it's land, any buildings, or any other fixed improvements to the land would be considered real estate. The option B here, chattel, this would be your personal property, things that they can remove like furniture and they can take with them. And option C here, they're talking about land, fixed improvement, and ownership rights. So this one is real property. Anytime they talk about ownership rights, it's real property. And then any property that can be included in the real estate transaction. So this actually is not correct, because when we do the transactions, there are a lot of things that are not fixed, but we actually include it in the transaction. For example, any washer, dryer, stove, fridge, any of these things are actually personal property, but we generally include them in the offer and we write it into the offer. So the seller actually leaves these things behind. But in reality, they're not fixed to the house. They're not attached. Therefore, they are considered personal property. So that's it for today. If you'd like any help in preparing for your Alberta real estate exam, I invite you to visit www.albertarealestateschool.com, or you can give us a call at 587-936-7779. Good luck with the exam, and I'll see you next time.